The New York Mets suffered a very tough loss last night, 2-1 to the Houston Astros. We're going to break down what happened last night, get to some of the player quotes and what is the cause for concern. Plus, the folks over at SNY do a table talk breaking down the game, what it means, and we are also going to get maybe a little bit into the Miami Marlins series coming up. We're going to get to that and a whole lot more next on MetCast. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. As always, I am Rain. If you're enjoying this content, I just ask you to like and subscribe. Make sure you have those notifications on so you never miss an upload or a live that Dan and I do. And yes, yesterday we had a brutal loss to the Houston Astros, 2-1, and we really only scored a run due to Jose Siri's aggressive play over at third base, practically stealing home, and that's the only offense we pretty much had. You had Juan Soto's double early on off the left field fence, and the Mets were no hit ever since. And what cause for concern is this, knowing Francisco Lindor is now 0 for 10 starting the season, similar to what he did last year. What is going on with this team? Brett Beatty can't buy a hit either. Yes, the Mets seem to have life towards the end of games, but it needs to start earlier. You saw Mark Vientos line out to end the game yesterday. Unfortunately, it was an atom ball over 100 miles an hour, which probably would have scored the game-tying run. But what is going on with the New York Mets offense? And can it be fixed? And will it be fixed early on? We have this quote over from Francisco Lindor post-game, and he knows what's up. He clearly said, I've got to do a way better job to be on base to make things happen. He is a table setter for this team. He needs to start to go the opposite way. That's what he did the whole second half of last year. And yes, I understand a lot of people are going to say, well, Francisco Lindor is a slow starter, which is okay. I'm not going to say that some of the greats haven't been slow starters. The Yankees had it for years with Mark Teixeira, where he would be a slow starter. But when you have Griffin Canning going out there, giving you 5 2/3, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 Ks, that's got to be enough. He's probably your 5th starter on this team when we're going top to bottom. He's giving you a chance to win. And the New York Mets, unfortunately, it seems like this happens every single year to start the year. We can't get in a hole. You have Miami, who's an awful team coming up very shortly. They need to capitalize against them. And yes, they're going to be facing Sandy Alcantara, who's going to probably give us fits and will be on an innings limit this year. Probably be moved sometime at the deadline. But if I'm a Mets fan, you have to take at least 2 of these next 3 games from the Miami Marlins. Anything less to me would not be catastrophic, but it would be cause for concern. You have the home opener coming up Friday, and when your pitching staff's going out there dealing the way they are, this bullpen hasn't given up a run yet. And Houston's a pesky team. We all agree they have solid pitching, but you got to see guys like Pete Alonso get going and Francisco Lindor. And yes, it's only 3 games, so you don't want to cause a crazy cause for concern, but those are my initial thoughts after those games. Now I want to get to a video over at SNY, them covering this, giving their opinions. Let's react.
All right, guys. So the Mets managed just 1 hit in this one. They finished the series 2 for 21 with runners in scoring position. John, what is your concern level in regards to the early season struggles as a team offensively?
Not terribly concerned. I think if you're a Mets fan, it's more frustration than anything else.
No, we're concerned. 100% we're concerned. It's not just frustration. And it's because look what happened last year. Started out 0-5, and we were 11 games under 500 fairly early. We're in the toughest division in baseball when it comes to the Braves and the Phillies, and they're not going to wait around for us. And I'm tired of competing for a wild card spot by midseason every year.
Seen this team go through these doldrums in the beginning of the season before. This is not new to anyone who's been following the New York Mets the last couple of seasons. It's frustrating because your big investment, Juan Soto, is doing what he's advertised to do for the most part, and no one around him can put it together. Between Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, Brandon Nimmo, Mark Vientos, 4 for 42 in the series, and then
Look at this. The team's offense versus the Astros, 260 on base percentage, which is brutal. 136 batting average. That pretty much means that they're getting one hit every time they go 1 through 9. Extra base hits 5. Okay. But look at that. 27 strikeouts already. And I understand Valdez is a really good pitcher, but still, we're supposed to be one of those elite offenses. That's crazy.
Really tough situation for Vientos there with the runner in scoring position in the 9th inning. They came up empty, Anthony, but it's beginning of the season doldrums. I don't put too much into it. Eventually, the momentum's going to get going throughout the lineup.
Generally, I would agree with you, John. I will say this, Francisco Lindor, these early season struggles are becoming a problem.
They're consistent.
Yeah. And look, I mean, there's a lot was made of his season last year about he struggled so mightily early, and then he bloomed into this MVP candidate. Maybe he would have won the award had he hit well in the early part of the season as well. That didn't happen. He is, 0 for 11 so far this year? If you can
I said 0 for 10. Maybe
your retinas probably got seared by that graphic that was just up there with some of the offensive futility that the Mets have had. And it starts with him at the top, and he was talking about it after the game too.
100%. He needs to be a table setter. You're hitting in front of Juan Soto. Teams, look what Hader did yesterday. Slider away, slider away, slider away. He threw him every single pitch was a slider, knowing if I let him go, the first base is open, and Pete Alonso's behind him. If you don't want Juan Soto being pitched around, have somebody on first base. They're not going to want to push somebody else on.
How he knows he needs to get on base, get things going, and that, once he does, things will start to get better for the offense as a whole. Well, yeah, Juan Soto has a 1,300 OPS so far. He's as advertised, as you mentioned. It starts with Lindor. He's got to get going. I'm not going to go too crazy over 3 games, but I'm not going to be like, oh, no problem.
Well,
you can't be, because like he said, I'm not saying it's a track record with Lindor, but he did it last year. And you can't have somebody at the top of the lineup being paid what he's being paid and have those expectations starting out 0 for 11. I mean, it's 0 for 11. He can go 2 for 3 his next game and we're all fine. But let's be honest, Met fans, our eyes are going to be dead locked on Lindor this next series.
I should have known Griffin Canning looked solid in his Mets debut.
Maybe I did go crazy, Michelle.
Their retinas are seared based on that graphic, according to you. Gave up just 2 runs in 5 2/3 innings pitched. Something that stood out to me was his pitch usage, a lot of sliders. So, Anthony, what stood out to you?
That was the big thing there to me. I thought that he was relying on the slider, not the way he usually pitches, but I think that that's a great indication of a guy who knows himself, because he knew that pitch.
Pitching lab. And I will say this, and obviously anybody who follows this channel knows that I have not been a fan of the Canning signing, but I didn't know this, and maybe I should have known this. There were like 2 or 3 other teams that were vying for Griffin Canning, and that's why he went for $4.5 million. Because a lot of Met fans were saying the guy got cut last year. Why is he going for so much? Well, as we all know, the Angels never develop any pitching ever, it seems like. So a lot of teams thought that he had a lot of good stuff, and they thought that they could develop him. He is a former top pitching prospect.
Was working. The fastball the command wasn't there in the same kind of way, so he stuck with what was working. Look, I mean, I know there's a flashpoint here with this guy, whether he should have stayed in the game or not when he gave up that double to Yordan Alvarez. I'm okay with it. He had retired Alvarez twice, even though Alvarez had been 7 for 13 against him coming into the game. But you got to see what Griffin Canning has, John.
And that's what we have from the folks over at SNY, and I agree with them. I mean, Canning pitched very well. You're going to see Senga soon. We're going to see Peterson. They have to start scoring runs, and I think they will. Maybe the warm weather in Miami will help out, but they're going to be coming back to the cold. And that seems to be where we've struggled the most. Hopefully the crowded City Field maybe creates a different type of energy, a different buzz. I know that they've sold out all their season ticket plans, which is great to see as a Mets fan. I will be there on opening day. We will be doing a live. Dan will be in studio going to me while we're in the parking lot. I will be giving you guys a first-hand feel of how it feels at City Field, what's going on in the parking lot, what is the vibe around the team. But that's all I got for you guys today. Again, if you're enjoying this content and stuck around this long, be sure to give us a huge thumbs up. Thank you so much for sticking around. We might have a live later on. Keep an eye out for it. Turn on those notifications. And until next time, let's go Mets. Take care.